Hello and welcome back to the second episode of The Rundown. My name is Carla de la Paz.
And my name is Katerina Koteska.
In this week's episode, I went out and spoke with the students of La Trobe about Australia's recent Prime Minister swap. We have Editor-in-Chief of Rabelais, Kristen Settinelli, who sits down with us to talk all things Rabelais and JMac.
Callum's reviews the highly successful film Mission Impossible Fallout, and our sport presenter Mitch Keating went out to catch up with Heidelburg FC earlier this week. But first, let's have a look at the news headlines. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has vowed to give Tony Abbott a clear picture of an Indigenous affairs role he has offered him. Mr Morrison has been in discussion with the former Prime Minister after leaving him out of his new look cabinet in an effort to heal the wounds of last week's damaging leadership spill. He's offered Mr Abbott the role of Special Envoy for Indigenous Affairs, but Mr Abbott wants to know exactly what it means before he decides to accept. Labor's Indigenous Affairs spokesman Senator Patrick Johnson said it would be condescending to First Nations people if Mr Abbott took the role, particularly as he has not lent his support to an Indigenous voice in Parliament. Another drama in Australian politics. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton, who only last week challenged Malcolm Turnbull for the Liberal leadership role, is now being accused that he personally intervened to stop a young French woman being deported after his office was lobbied by AFL boss Gillian McLachlan. Documents released under Freedom of Information show Mr Dutton approved the release of a 27-year-old woman from immigration detention on the 1st of November 2015 and used his ministerial powers to grant her a tourist visa. Documents obtained by the ABC show Mr Dutton granted the woman a 3-month tourist visa on the condition she did not work. Mr Dutton released a strongly worded statement refuting any suggestions of impropriety. He said Immigration Minister received hundreds of inquiries each year on individual migration matters from members of the public, organisations, journalists and MPs. Federal Labor says Peter Dutton must explain whether generous politics donation had an influence on his decision to help the French woman into the country. Peter Dutton has flatly denied any wrongdoing by the minister, saying he was not aware of the donation when making the decision. The Shadow Minister for Immigration, Shane Newman, demanded Mr Dutton appear before a Senate inquiry into the matter.
The Victorian Labor government have unveiled their plans to build a multi-billion dollar underground rail line linking Melbourne's outer suburbs without coming into the city. It is expected to be a 90-kilometre long line and will run between Cheltenham and Werribee via Melbourne Airport. The project will also include 12 new stations for commuters has been labelled the ring road of public transport. The government is labelling this the biggest public transport project in Australian history, with Premier Daniel Andrews announcing the plans via Facebook. Construction is expected to start in 2022, however it could take until 2050 before construction is fully complete, with the opposition stating that the plan lacked detail and raised the prospect the government may have to introduce more taxes to fund it. Shadow Treasurer Michael O'Brien said in a statement, with some estimates suggesting it will cost between $50 billion to $100 billion and a completion date beyond the year 2050. This looks more like a plan for the next election. Scotland has become the first nation in the world to offer women of low-income homes free sanitary products. An estimated 1,000 women and girls will now benefit from the government-led scheme. The cause is part of a pilot project in Aberdeen. The pilot is expected to run for 6 months and will be run by Community Food Initiative North East, an enterprise that focuses on improving the health and well-being of those in poverty, according to The Independent. Their Equality Secretary Angela Constance said that it was unacceptable that women in Scotland are unable to access sanitary products. She added on by saying, the pilot in Aberdeen is the first step to help us understand the barriers women and girls face, and to help us develop a sensitive and dignified solution to making these products easily accessible to those who need them.
In sporting news, Serena Williams stunned fans at the 2018 French Open when she stepped onto the court in a catsuit. Black with a red waistband, the full-length bodysuit looked striking on her. A new mum, she was likened to the superhero in the ensemble. However, the catsuit won't be welcomed back. While fans and media praised the look, the French Tennis Federation president said in a Tennis Magazine interview published Friday that it won't be back. The catsuit ban led to considerable backlash in the days since it was announced. Williams herself weighed in and said she was not upset by the decision. The idea that Williams disrespected the sport by wearing the bodysuit outraged fans because the tennis star explained that she wore the symbol both for her health in mind and to inspire mothers. Williams has a history of blood clots and developed one after giving birth to her daughter Alexis in September via C-section. She dedicated her Black Panther-inspired catsuit to all the mums out there that had a tough pregnancy. Williams commented on the matter and said, "I think that obviously the Grand Slam have a right to do what they want to do," she added. "I feel like if and when, or if they know that some things are for health reasons, then there's no way they wouldn't be okay with it. So I think it's fine." According to the Associated Press, the French Tennis Federation will introduce a new dress code for future tournaments. While Serena took home her first Victoria of the 2018 US Open wearing on a chic one-shoulder dress with a pleated skirt, people saying this was her bold statement.
So I wanted to bring up before that the Tony Abbott being elected as the Indigenous Affairs Minister. What do you think about that?
I think that was a bit of a weird move because he's not the best person for that, considering his previous comments on Indigenous affairs.
Definitely, and I mean it seems odd and kind of disrespectful. I mean, in 2015, Tony Abbott was roundly condemned for saying that living in a remote community was a lifestyle choice, while announcing the closure of more than 100 Indigenous communities in Western Australia. I mean, he's slashed funding for Indigenous advancement strategies, which offers programming targeting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, and he has frequent gaffes when referring to Australia's First People. So he doesn't have a good track record when it comes to representing Indigenous communities. And even Indigenous leader Noel Pearson, I'm pretty sure, he's just called the comments that he's made disappointing. So he's definitely not getting backed up by the Indigenous community.
I don't think he's the right person. In 2008, when Kevin Rudd made his apology, the year after that, Tony Abbott was our Prime Minister and he refused to do it. He refused to apologise, and I think Scott Morrison put him there to heal wounds because he didn't include him in his new cabinet.
Probably. Yeah, so it seems a bit distasteful in my opinion, at least. I don't back that up at all, but that's Tony Abbott for you. And speaking of Australian politics, you would know that Australia has been rapidly changing prime ministers, and we have a new prime minister now, Scott Morrison. So I decided I would go around campus and find out how students are feeling about the sudden and confusing change of leadership. So let's check it out. Hi guys, my name is Carla Paz and I'm in front of the Media Hub, and I thought it would be a really cool idea to get a university student's perspective on the new Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. So I went around, asked a few people some questions, and this is the stuff that they gave me, so let's check it out. Alright, so Australia has a new Prime Minister. His name is Scott Morrison, or Scott Mo, for those that want to be a little funky. How do you feel about him?
To be completely honest,
We love honesty.
they're all going to lie, they're all going to say the same thing, and they're all going to tell us exactly what we want to hear.
Okay,
Yep.
That's true. What about you, Daniel?
I don't really have a personal opinion of him. I mean, I find that a lot of people are confused about this whole change when the fact is, like, our political system isn't about voting the person, it's about voting for the party. I think people need to understand that.
It's just as bad as everyone else, and I think everyone's a little bit confused on what the hell is actually going on in Parliament.
I feel like this is a situation that sucks quite a lot. I don't like Scott Morrison at all. His opinions on border policy, he didn't vote in the gay marriage vote.
Do you like him? Do you not like him? Give me your thoughts.
I hate him because I hate all Liberal politicians.
Okay, no, she's gonna leave me hanging. Okay, sorry.
They replaced one idiot with another idiot.
Thanks. Took my mic. So if there was anyone in the Liberal Party or anyone in the world, who do you think would be a good Prime Minister for Australia?
So in the Liberal Party, I'd probably say Julie Bishop. But in the world, I'd probably say Hulk Hogan.
I guess if I had to choose someone, I'd like someone like Alex Batal or something like that.
Well, I would say Julie Gillard.
I'd go with The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock
Johnson.
Wow, that'd be so good. Could you imagine? Imagine him in a suit in Parliament. Oh my God. Ooh. Well, we have one last thing that we're going to do. We're going to play a little game. So I've got some pictures of former Australian Prime Ministers here.
Oh, Bob Hawke.
Yes, well done.
John Howard.
Kevin Rudd.
How cute is he in his little photo? He's not a cute person,
Bring
but
back Kevin 07.
Abbott. What is Abbott doing?
I'm guessing Union Onion.
No, I haven't. Like, well, who is she? Wait.
Leland Chin, she was the news presenter at CBS.
Okay.
You don't know her?
No, I don't.
All right, look, it's been great, but you need to leave. He doesn't know who Lillian Chin is. It's been great, but
The question is, does anyone care?
I need aloe vera. This guy literally just roasted me. And he's in crutches. Yay, you can't run if I come after you. You got crutches, bro. Okay.
Carla, how was that?
Sorry, I was just laughing watching it. No, it was a really fun package to shoot. I mean, we definitely had a lot of laughs throughout the process, as you can see there. But don't worry, guys. Me and the crutches guy, we're on good terms. We hashed it out, so we're all good.
How did you find the Trobe students found politics?
I was actually really surprised because a lot of the students didn't seem like they knew what was going on, or a lot of them didn't actually care. And I was like, oh, so, we have a new Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. How do you feel about it? Do you want to give an opinion? Let me know how you feel. And most people were like, no, I'm fine. I don't have any opinions on it.
I think people are just sick of it because we've had 6 Prime Ministers in 11 years. Either they don't care or they don't even know anymore because it just keeps changing.
It keeps changing. But I think my favourite part of that whole story was when I asked people to name the prime ministers, because you'd be surprised that most people got them right, but then there was other people that kind of said something ridiculous, and some people just had no clue whatsoever. But I think Bob Hawke and Harold Holt were the 2 prime ministers that really stumped people.
Yeah, because everyone else has been in the news so often.
Yeah.
In so much recent times. Are you able to name all our prime ministers in 11 years that we've had? In order?
I'll give it a go. From where? Let's say 2010?
8.
We'll start from
around Kevin Rudd.
Kevin Rudd? Okay. I'm pretty sure it went Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, Kevin Rudd again. Am I right?
I think so, for a little while before election.
Tony Abbott?
Yeah.
Turnbull? Morrison.
And now Scott Morrison, yeah.
And maybe next week we'll have someone else.
I don't think we've ever made it to an election.
We haven't.
Without swapping a leader. And
I was saying, the funny thing is that I have my auntie recently just gave birth to a baby, and the baby's only 1 week old, and she's already experienced 2 prime ministers in 1 week.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, how long does it takes us years to get a different prime minister. She's only been alive for 1 and she's had 2. So it's pretty funny. It's such a strange thing, but if that's Australian politics for you, it's a bit of a joke at the moment.
Yeah, there's so many things going on. I don't even know. We might have a new Prime Minister next year.
Possibly.
Okay, we're going to take a break now, but when we get back, we'll be joined by our live studio guest, Kristen Settinelli, to talk about La Trobe's magazine, Rabelais. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and now we welcome Kristen Settinelli, a La Trobe Master student in Journalism Innovation, to the desk. She's the Chief of Staff at La Trobe's very own Rabelais Magazine, a publication that's been running since 1967 and is distributed for free and circulated through La Trobe campuses, reaching over 33,000 students in Victoria. Welcome, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been very nice to be back here on the desk because I was once a journalism student as well. So yeah,
feels like home.
Oh, it does. It does.
Can you tell us a little bit about Rabelais for those who don't know what it is?
Yeah, definitely. So Rabelais is the student magazine here at La Trobe University, like you mentioned. Rabelais has been around this year for 51 years. So it's practically as old as La Trobe is itself. And it's just a really great magazine for students to get involved in. We take submissions all throughout the year. They cover a wide range of topics, whether it's multiculturalism or queer edition, or there's multiple different editions that we usually introduce every year. But yeah, it's a really great opportunity, again, for journalism students or La Trobe students in general to really get involved, yeah.
Yeah, we've got some of your
Yes.
magazines right here.
Yeah, pass me one. I've got
Yeah.
every single one of these.
Oh,
I've
I'm
got them
so
all in my
glad.
house.
What
So
kind of
glad.
content do you produce?
Well, like I said, it really depends. We usually plan out the editions from the start of the year. Usually they come out during or around a specific event. So, for instance, the Queer Edition was during Pride Week here at La Trobe. So we had the Queer Edition come out the same week. So we had specifically queer and LGBTQ students here at La Trobe produce the magazine, as well as like the front cover. Pretty much all the content based in every magazine is related to a certain topic. The other edition, this one here, is the first ever Indigenous edition here at La Trobe University. So we're pretty proud of this one as well. But again, we usually take all kinds of content but also focus on different themes depending on what's going on throughout the year. So you'll be seeing as well at the end of the year, I think it's International Women's Day, or Women's Week at the end of the year. So we'll be producing a women's edition as well. Yeah. Which is good.
Sorry for cutting you
That's okay.
So I do know that Rabelais is a student-based magazine. So can you take me through the process of what students can do to get their work put in here?
Yeah, well, definitely. Like I said, we take submissions all throughout the year. So all students need to do is basically, if they've got any creative works, whether it be an article, a blog piece, a poem, a story that they want to tell, or anything in particular. It could even be a piece of art. We often have visual art in the magazine as well, whether it's a drawing or a cartoon or an animation. We do take also videos as well as podcasts and things like that on our website, which is www.rabelais.com.au.
Check it out.
So, basically we take submissions all throughout the year. All the students have to do is email us. Our email is ltsu_rabelais at latrobe.edu.au. All they do is email us, give us their idea or send us the straight piece, and we, majority of the time, will publish it. We usually as well, because what a lot of students do find difficult is editing and also feeling confident about their work. So we often obviously edit our content as well. We give them feedback on their piece, whether it's their writing ability or how they storytell. We often give advice and feedback for that as well. So it's definitely really helpful for students to get their writing out there.
So I hear that you're also a part of JMAC.
I am.
Alongside myself. I'm also in there.
Yes.
But a little birdie told me that there's an arts ball coming up really soon.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that?
I can even tell you, so to start you off, the Journalism, Media, Arts and Communication Society here at La Trobe University is a society run by students for La Trobe journalism, mainly journalism students. But of course we are also a part of the media and arts and communication faculties as well. But basically we're running a really cool ball. It's called the La Trobe Arts Ball. It's the third year running. It's happening on the 27th of October. There'll be a first ever JMAC Arts Ball Awards, which there's going to be a crazy lineup of awards, including a very own La Trobe Live Awards, which credits someone who's worked through La Trobe Live Productions. But there's a whole bunch of awards, and usually the Arts Ball is a lot of fun. It's only $85 a ticket. It's basically a nice collaboration for all the students to come together and have a nice celebration at the end of the year. So I recommend you find us on Facebook at JMAC-LTU. Another dig there.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kristen. Up next, we have Callum's movie review. He reviews the hugely successful film Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Tom Cruise. Let's have a look.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of the 2-minute movie reviews here on La Trobe Live. And today we'll be looking at the 6th entrance in the Mission Impossible franchise, and that is Mission Impossible Fallout, which recently hit cinemas here in Australia. And the early reviews came in for this movie and it was big tick, big tick, big tick everywhere. And I went into the movie with big expectations. I mean, Mission Impossible has never disappointed me before. Mission Impossible 2, perhaps a slight exception to that, but otherwise, I was really hoping that this movie would be as good as everyone was saying it would be. and I was blown off my feet. It was absolutely superb. It is by far the best movie in the franchise. That's not to put down the other movies. The other movies are exceptional, especially the recently released Rogue Nation. But this movie just managed to take it up a notch where I did not expect it to be able to after Rogue Nation. This movie has managed to surpass all its predecessors, and that astounds me. But what astounds me even more so is that this movie, in my opinion, is one of the best action movies of the last 10 to 15 years. And that's purely down to the choreography, the stunt work, the cinematography, the music, the screenwriting, and above all else, the direction of this movie from Christopher McQuarrie. McQuarrie is the same director behind Jack Reacher and the recent addition in the Mission Impossible franchise, Rogue Nation, and he has worked wonders with crews in the past with both of those movies. Big fan of Jack Reacher, loved Rogue Nation, as I said, and they've managed to go even further than what I thought they could. They have done exceptionally well with this movie, and I can't wait to see what they've got in store for the 7th edition. That is if McQuarrie sticks around for the 7th edition, but we'll ignore that for now. So to recap, this movie is by far one of the best action movies I've seen in many years. If you haven't been able to get around to it just yet, it's only just hit cinemas, so you've got plenty of time to immerse yourself in what is an amazing movie experience. It really is a great movie, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not going around to watch it in the cinemas. That's all I've got to say, really. Back to you guys in the studio.
So I really love the fact that Caleb said that he liked this film, but look, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say it right now. I hate Tom Cruise. Can't stand the guy. Wears the same leather jacket. Name's always Jack. His films are all kind of on the same sort of level every time.
They're all action movies. I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Cruise, but this movie made 8.2 million in the box office.
Yeah.
So it must be pretty good. It's got raving reviews online, and he does his own stunts, which I think adds to the entire movie.
And speaking of the fact that he does his own stunts, I'm about 100% sure that he recently broke his ankle on this film doing one of the stunts.
This one or the previous one, he did hurt himself. It was on the news. Yeah.
He did. So I don't know. I mean, but that's my opinion. Tom Cruise, not a fan. But speaking of being a fan of something, I guess, we'll look at Mitch Keating's story on Heidelburg FC. He went out on Friday night to watch their most recent game, and now the Heidelberg team will be preparing to travel to Adelaide for the FFA Cup tonight. So let's check it out.
Heidelberg United fielded an undermanned 11 in preparation for their round of 16 FFA Cup clash with the Adelaide Comets. Coach George Katsakis was adamant his side have encountered the best preparation for the midweek clash, following the 4-1 defeat away to Kingston City.
Yeah, look, you never want to lose a game, but at the end of the day, it was about rotations today and giving a couple of kids an opportunity. For us, that's the important factor at the moment. We look forward to Wednesday. Obviously, there's a couple of boys that had to have the run today to make sure they're okay for next Wednesday. It's a massive game for us, and we'll prepare on Sunday morning, Monday night before we fly out. We'll make sure that the full squad, or the majority of the squad that's used to playing together, will field the game on Wednesday and hopefully come off with the result.
The Heidelberg faithful have long awaited for an interstate trip, with the club organising a bus for fans planning to attend. Whilst club president Steve Salakides and general manager Marcus Copsey will fly to the game, it is expected that close to 50 members will be on the road by Wednesday morning.
We're flying. Well, actually, we've got a bus going, full bus, so I think there's 47 people going, and that's full. And a lot of our supporters are actually flying there.
On the plane with the boys, so early start on Wednesday, but really looking forward to it.
We're flying up on the Wednesday.
By train, by boat?
By train and boat. Any means we can, we'll get up there.
I don't know, we envisage there might be 100 odd people from Heidelberg there.
The clash with the Comets will be a closely fought contest, with some Heidelberg fans already having an idea of what's to come in the quarterfinals.
Maybe Sydney FC at home or something. I think it's a real opportunity now for a NPL club to at least compete in a final, possibly. So there may be an easy draw to the final, and we can, be the first NPL team to make a FFA Cup final.
That's a good question. Have a funny feeling we might get Avondale, unfortunately, but an A-League side, Melbourne City at home would be fantastic.
Look, I'm like Cats and the players, and we take one game at a time, and whoever we draw, we just draw.
We're unbeatable. We're unbeatable. Bring anyone on.
With 4 NPL sides guaranteed into the next round, many are starting to believe that local clubs have what it takes to compete with the country's best.
It just will prove once again why promotion relegation is needed in this country, and this year is probably the best chance that an NPL team has to make that final, so hopefully it's us.
A win would just, the confidence would be sky high. This will be the last, we'll go into the last 16, is that correct?
Last 8.
Last 8. Semi-finals, we were quarter-finals last year.
Quarter-finals, yeah.
And yeah, it'll mean so much to the club, I think, and the confidence will just go sky high.
Unfortunately, the way that the FFA Cup is drawn, it's stacked up against us later on, because the A-League teams are a lot more fitter and prepared for their season. So, you know, full-time professionals against part-timers, it's a big ask. But you know what? They call it the magic of the cup, and you've got to keep dreaming, really. So
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Whilst it wasn't the result they were after, Heidelburg did put in a strong 90 minutes against Kingston City in preparation for Wednesday's clash in Adelaide. That FFA Cup fixture will be one to look forward to. Having clinched the title last week in the NPL, Heidelburg will certainly have some fresh legs, having rested a few star players in tonight's game.
Mitchell Keating, The Rundown.
Hello and welcome back. I don't know if anyone notices anything different about me.
Looking very nice in yellow, absolutely.
A little
Just
bit
come
of an
back from
outfit
the
change.
union meeting.
Yeah. I feel like this colour really brings out my eyes. But anyway, speaking of sport, we have Mitch and Caleb here. How are we, boys? Have a good day?
We're very good, thanks.
That's good. Now, based on how Heidelberg played on Friday night when you guys went, how do you see them going against Adelaide tonight? Will they win it?
I think they can. Heidelberg have barely lost a game this season in their Victorian League, and they already beat a New South Wales side in Charlestown City in the round of 32 in the FFA Cup. And Adelaide Comets are a much better side than Charlestown City are, and they're currently fourth in their. Well, they finished fourth in their league, but Heidelberg they won the title in Victoria, which is. It's considered a better league than what the South Australian League is. They won it with weeks left in the competition. So I think that they'll be the favourites going in, but Adelaide will give it a red-hot crack at home.
And what about you, Mitch? What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, like Cal said, they're probably the best team to represent the state in the competition. Obviously, the form, having finished the season early, is always going to work well work in their hands. But like form we've seen, by this end of the competition, every team's pretty much at that same state. Especially all the NPL sides, really pushing to get on to the next round. So it's going to be tough for them tonight, but I'm tipping them.
How are the fans feeling?
They're excited. We obviously, as we saw in the package, there was a few there Friday night. Really excited about Wednesday's game and what's to come. And like I said, you get this part in the competition, the fans are going to be really behind them. There's close to 100 going up today. So, they're really thriving for it.
Yeah, I've been around the club a lot this year, and the passion that these guys bring to the club is unreal, and they're taking it all to Adelaide, and they did the same with Sydney last year when they took it to the Sydney United game where they won on penalties. And I remember that the Heidelberg fans were all in one certain corner of the stadium, and they were cheering for the entire 120 minutes. So they're a passionate bunch, and I'm sure they'll do the exact same tonight out in Adelaide. They love their football.
Yeah, and it definitely sounds like they are pretty dedicated fans. I mean, I'm pretty sure we were talking about at one point that the fans drove all the way in a bus to Adelaide to go support them. So, I mean, if that doesn't indicate that they love the team, that I don't know what does. But anyway, thank you both for joining us in the studio. We'll be back here next week discussing the first week of the AFL finals.
But coming up next week, we will have more of the latest news in everything sports, entertainment, politics and breaking news. Don't miss our show next week where both Carla and I head to a rock and roll and salsa dance class.
Everyone has a fantasy of what they would like, and then reality comes. And then the reality seems like they can't make their fantasy, and that takes a bit of time to be able to dance the way you wanted to, the way you envisaged before you came here.
But we are really sad to go, but you can join us again next week. And as always, just like I said last week, goodbye-bye.